It's just an arrangement of the elements, and they're in order of their atomic number. So basically, they're ordered by how many protons. The first one is hydrogen, which only has one proton, and the last is Afghanistan, I believe, and I'm not really sure. I think it might be 82. But anyways, it just arranges um all the elements in terms of their protons. And so we see here that groups are just vertical columns in the periodic table. So groups are going to be downwards. I'll show it later. And elements in the same group share chemical and physical properties. So if you guys don't know what vertical is, it's up to down or down to up. Um, so elements in the same group typically share the same chemical and physical properties as mentioned. Um, Groups are also called families, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna hear families more, but they're the same thing. Groups and families are pretty much identical. Periods are horizontal rows, so left to right, and um, metals are just gonna be elements that are shiny and good conductors of heat and electricity. You don't really have to memorize this part, but this first part is pretty important and crucial to the identity of metal. A non-metal elements that are poor conductors and vary in state. You don't have to memorize this last part. But to be honest, um, you just have to memorize the trends on the periodic table and how the periodic table is divided to understand what is a metal and non-metal. Metalloids or semi-metals come after the transition metals, which is a specific part in the periodic table, and they have properties between metals and non-metals. Isotopes are atoms of the same elements with a differing number of neutrons, and thus they have different atomic mass, different masses. So we go to the periodic table here, and we see how all the elements are arranged. It's kind of hard to see, but hydrogen is the first element because it has one proton. Helium has two protons. Lithium has three protons. Beryllium has four protons. Boron has five protons. Carbon has six protons, and so on and so forth. So we see that there's markings right here that indicate the identity of each element, and they're really helpful. So the first group is called alkali metals, and Um, each one has specific properties. This one is called the alkali earth metals, and these are called the transition metals. We see here that this part should also be transition metals, and I'm not sure why they're colored differently. Um, the staircase right here would be the semi-metals that we mentioned earlier, metalloids. All this right here are pure non-metals, and this last part are inert gases or noble gases. They're the same thing. Um, the important thing to note is that the noble gases and inert gases typically never react. The only exceptions should be xenon and krypton, which do bond to fluorine. I think it's because like fluorine's highly reactive, but you don't have to know any of this for right now. Um, but it's important to understand each individual family, uh, group of elements. Um, there's also names right here, but they're not that important. Like the oxygen group is called chalcogens. This is called halogens. Um, and I'm not really sure what these are called, but they're just all grouped like this. And periodic table is just a really useful tool. My teacher had me memorize it, but if you memorize the groups, you should be fine. Just know that the left half are all metals, and past this little staircase right here is non-metals and noble gases. Um, Surprisingly, though, hydrogen is a nonmetal, although it's in the alkali metal. Um, and I almost forgot these are lanthanum. These are lanthanides, and these are actinides. So that's the periodic table.